For classic matches, just like the World Cup videos, why not go to patreon.com/drunkredhead. You've been waiting for it, it's time for another What Happened on My Universe Mode PPV special! It's November to remember, and the fireworks are finally flying the main event. It was a night of big matches and big stakes, and what better place to have it than the home of Jerry the King Lawler, Memphis, Tennessee. The opening match was definitely a big one, as it saw the Game, Triple H, head down to the ring to face off against his old buddy, old pal, Kevin Nash. As soon as the match got started though, the ref got taken out, back bumped by Kevin Nash, and then the two carried on beating each other until they were on the outside. And when they were on the outside, Kevin Nash punched Triple H in the face and gave him a big dirty backbreaker, but then Triple H reversed pretty much straight away and hit him with the high knee, and got a chair out and smacked him with it quickly before the ref woke up. Following a neckbreaker, Triple H headed back in the ring and waited, and once Kevin Nash was back in the ring, Triple H hit him with a big dirty spinebuster, on Anderson's style. After an elbow, Triple H went for the punch, but Kevin Nash reversed and hit him with a massive big boot before trying to go for the jackknife powerbomb straight away. Triple H, though, took his inner cruiserweight out and reversed it before taking off the corner pad. He threw Kevin Nash into the corner twice, busting him open in the process, then chucked him to the outside where he hit a pedigree on the concrete floor. There's no pads there, it's ECW. Eventually Kevin Nash got back into the ring and Triple H just nailed him with another pedigree, and a broken and bloody Kevin Nash couldn't kick out, and Triple H was victorious. Following that beatdown, we probably should have followed that with something happy. Oh look, it's Rikishi. Oh, but he's still a heel in this one. And he was facing off against Cactus Jack in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Let's go ECW style. The Samoan took the early control, throwing Cactus Jack down before hitting him with a couple of headbutts and a kick to the face. Cactus Jack wriggled out the next move though and turned it into a dirty German suplex on Rikishi. Cactus then went for a slam of his own, but Rikishi did the same thing to him, except pushing him away instead of suplexing him. Of course, Rikishi would lose the advantage once again when Cactus Jack kicked out his knee, and then Cactus Jack took it to the outside, trying to throw him up the aisle initially, but then grabbing the steel steps and ramming them into Rikishi's head. Jack brutalized Rikishi first with the steps and then with general moves, a neckbreaker and a dirty knee to the head, last used by the Terminator. He walked him up the aisle and then threw him onto the rampway. Or what would be a rampway anyway. Rikishi did get a reversal, and then did get some moves. But eventually Cactus Jack would gain the advantage once again with an arm wringer, and then hit the dirtiest pile driver onto the concrete floor on Rikishi, and Rikishi wasn't getting up from that, so Cactus Jack was victorious once again in Falls Count Anywhere. We had a dream match up next as Bret Hitman Hart, who was joined by the Hart Foundation members of Pillman, Neidhart and Bulldog. Well, he was taking on Chris Jericho, who was all on his lonesome this time, but he did have his shiny jacket. Bret Hart started things off with a gutbuster and a Russian leg sweep, followed by a big dropkick in the corner, but Jericho quickly reversed the chop and got on with things. Jericho nailed a bulldog and a Northern Light suplex before getting to work on Bret Hart's limbs. He did a springboard dropkick but then lost control when Bret Hart hit a takedown. Bret Hart chucked Chris Jericho out to the wolves and they tried to get him, but he evaded and got back in the ring, but Bret Hart was waiting for him with a diving crossbody. He hit a Mr. Perfect move, but then got reversed again. Chris Jericho was in control with a chop and a slap before he went to the top rope and hit a diving crossbody. He hit Bret Hart with a few elbows to the head before trying to lock in the walls of Jericho. And, well, he didn't try, he did lock in the walls of Jericho. But after a while, Bret Hart was strong enough to break out of it. And after he did that, he went for a small cradle. And would he win? Well, no, but he got a 2 count. Jericho was still in control though, and he threw Bret Hart to the outside and hit him with a massive suicide dive. The dive didn't quite take out Bret as he reversed quickly and threw Jericho back in the ring before nailing him with a shin breaker and then locking on a ring post figure 4 leg lock. Nice. On the outside, Bret Hart nailed Chris Jericho with a backbreaker and then threw him into the corner post before heading back in the ring, hitting a dirty DDT and an even dirtier pile driver, and he went for the pin. Was it a 1, 2? Nope, it was a kick out. Jericho was not done yet. Jericho then kicked Bret Hart away, hit an elbow drop, a helo, and then locked in the walls of Jericho once again. And Bret Hart stayed in it for God knows how long. It went through 2 little cuts that I put there. That means it must have been on for ages, and eventually Bret Hart would tap out. And Chris Jericho, shockingly, would get the win despite blood streaming down his face. We had our first title match of the evening up next as Mark Henry, the world's strongest man, challenged Booker T for the European Championship. Mark Henry got things going in the match, first kneeing Booker T in the gut, kicking him down and then punching him while he was down. Henry whacked his arm and headbutted him before Booker T was able to hit a smart reversal with a drop toe hold. Booker T hit a spin kick and a clothesline, but quickly Mark Henry was back in control. The big man hit a sidewalk slam before elbowing him down. Booker T somehow managed to reverse into a back body drop and hit a jumping sidekick, but quickly lost the momentum once again when Mark Henry hit a belly to belly. He went for another slam, but Booker T was reversing it. A knee to the gut and a massive spinebuster followed. Booker choked Mark Henry on the bottom rope before kicking him in the gut, and it was time for the scissor kick. He hit it, went for the pin, but Mark Henry was too close to the ropes. Henry swatted him away and hit him with a gigantic sidebreaker before locking him into a bear hug. Booker T held on though and quickly reversed the bear hug into a DDT. He took him out with a neckbreaker and headed to the top rope, but when he jumped, Mark Henry caught him and nailed him with a massive world's strongest slam, and Booker T had no answer. Mark Henry won the match 1-2-3 and was the new European champion. There was another title match next as a natural disasters, Earthquake and Typhoon, were challenging the Blade Runners. Sting, who was wearing a weird jacket that made the belt look weird, and the Ultimate Warrior. It was gonna be a barnstormer. This one began with Earthquake taking out Sting. He gave him a punch and a kick and then took him down. He nailed a neckbreaker before giving the Ultimate Warrior a punch and giving Sting a dirty slam. He tagged into Typhoon and we got some double teamness, but after that Sting woke up and elbowed Typhoon in the head and hit him with a DDT, and then it was Warrior time. Warrior took Typhoon down with a kick, hit him with a snap suplex and a knee to the head, and even started working on body parts. He then hit the military press slam impressively, but Typhoon reversed after that with an arm wringer. Typhoon slammed Warrior down hard and then clotheslined him down hard before tagging back into Earthquake. And Earthquake hit a nasty slam of his own, even going for the pin, but it was only a 2 count. Earthquake stepped on him and went for a punch, but the Ultimate Warrior was ready, reversed, kicked him and kneed him, and then started beating him down. Following that, the Ultimate Warrior nailed his ultimate splash, went for the pin, but Earthquake kicked out early. He tagged into Sting, and Sting went for a pile driver, but Earthquake somehow reversed in the weirdest way possible. A big dirty slam and a big dirty splash followed, and then Earthquake started taking out the Warrior. He beat Sting down with fists and chucked him about before taking the Warrior out again. A big elbow drop followed and another big slam, and again he took out the Warrior. There was a tactic, obviously. He went for the Earthquake splash, sat on him, and it was 1-2-3, and the Blade Runners were finally beaten after 2 games worth of title shots. I repeat, the Blade Runners were beaten. In the penultimate match of the evening, it was a bit of a showcase as we saw Tatsumi Fujinami come out to take on, knock knock, who's there? Goldberg! Yep, Goldberg was back for his first match since the last pay-per-view. Turns out he's a pay-per-view player. And he started off by taking out Fujinami, but Fujinami followed that up by returning the favour with a forearm. He kneed him in the back but got reversed himself with an elbow to the gut. Goldberg took him out with a clothesline and kicked him in the head before hitting a dirty German suplex, followed by a big slam. Tatsumi Fujinami was ready for the next one and reversed with a forearm, followed by a spinning forearm and a big elbow drop. He then hit a striking masterclass, first with a slap, then with a kick, and then with a knee to the back. He hit an elbow drop to the back of Goldberg, before Goldberg finally reversed with a judo throw. Goldberg nailed a pump handle suplex and a pump handle slam before going for the spear. He hit it, so he went for the jackhammer after, and he hit that as well, so he went for the pin. But would he win? Nope, Tatsumi Fujinami was ready with a kick out. Fujinami then reversed the next move and took control for himself, hitting a dirty German suplex before locking in a dragon sleeper. Goldberg wasn't going to tap though, and he rolled Fujinami out of it, so Fujinami threw him into the corner, but that's where Goldberg got the advantage back. He reversed, hit a slam, started punching him in the head, busted him open, and then tried to lock on a leg lock. Goldberg held the leg lock in for what seemed like an eternity. Eventually, Tatsumi Fujinami would kick him away, so Goldberg took a different approach. He hit him with a hip toss, and then he hit him with another spear, and he followed that up with another jackhammer, and this time Fujinami wasn't kicking out. Oh no, This time Goldberg was victorious, and he celebrated like he meant it, but he couldn't celebrate for long because joining him soon was Andre the Giant jumping in from the crowd, and he took Goldberg down. Andre locked him in a camel clutch, and when he was finished with that, he jumped on him, sat on him, and hit him with a dirty elbow drop, and that was that. It was time for our main event, and strap yourself in, it's going to be a bumpy ride as Team WCW, Dusty Rhodes, Lex Luger and the Macho Man Randy Savage took on Team WWE, Stone Cold, The Undertaker, and a mystery partner. Who would be the third man? Would we find out at the end of the match? Hell no! We're going to find out right now. It's the fucking Rock! As noted on the last edition of Main Event, the stakes were high for this one. Should Team WCW win, Main Event becomes Nitro. It was all to play for, and it started with Stone Cold v Dusty Rhodes. Steve Austin hit him with a DDT and a knee to the gut before kneeing him in the head, and then he lost control. Dusty hit Stone Cold with a wind-up punch before throwing him into the corner and butt-bumping him. He tagged into Lex Luger, who followed that up with a forearm and then hit Stone Cold with a suplex. Luger and Dusty gave us some double teamers before Dusty lost control, letting Stone Cold hit him with a back suplex, and then he tagged into the Rock, and Dusty Rhodes went one-on-one with the Great One. Rock hit a back body drop and a superplex. The Rock then locked in his shit version of the sharpshooter, but because it's his version, Dusty Rhodes was able to power out of it. Dusty then gained control, knocked the Rock for 6, and then hit him with a Russian leg sweep, and then it was time to tag into the Macho Man. Savage took out Rocky with a suplex and a pile driver, but he didn't go for the pin, and Rock was back up after that. He reversed and then hit a rock bottom before tagging into The Undertaker, who seemed more focused on Dusty Rhodes, meaning Macho Man was able to gain control. He hit him with a fist drop and then tagged into Lex Luger. The Undertaker wasn't going to take any shit from Lex Luger. He reversed, punched him in the gut a few times and nailed him with a nice chokeslam. The Undertaker worked on Luger for a while before lifting him up for a tombstone pile driver. Luger, though, waggled his legs and reversed it, hitting a tombstone pile driver of his own. He went for the pin, but The Undertaker kicked out, so he went for a pile driver, and then tagged into Macho Man Randy Savage. Savage hit a knee drop and hit the elbow drop, and went for the pin, but again, The Undertaker kicked out. Savage tagged in Dusty Rhodes and he went for a back body drop before trying to take out the other members of Team WWE. Stone Cold, though, wasn't having any of it. The Undertaker was back in control and he took Dusty out before bringing Savage in. He tagged into Stone Cold, who lost control, and Dusty Rhodes was able to hit a bionic elbow. He took out the other members of Team WWE and tagged into Savage, who hit a backbreaker and tried to go for the flying elbow again. But The Rock was ready and took Savage out. Austin tried to take Savage to the top rope, but Savage kicked him away and hit a double axe handle. He took out the other members of Team WWE again and went for a small cradle, but Stone Cold kicked out at 2. Macho Man tagged in Luger and Luger quickly locked in the torture rack, but Stone Cold didn't tap out. Oh no, he jumped out instead and hit a DDT. He had control now and smashed Luger with an atomic drop. Austin had the momentum now. He jumped Luger with a Luthez press and smashed him several times, busting him open in the process. He whacked him with a Stone Cold Stunner, and Luger could not kick out. Team WWE were victorious, and Main Event was staying Main Event. And that's it for this edition of What Happened on My Universe Mode. Like and subscribe, a whole new week starts next.